The Maine Business Show is proudly presented by Poland Spring.
At Poland Spring, we've called Maine home since 1845 and are proud to be part of the community. Over the past 2 decades, investing more than $12 million in the place that we call home. Poland Spring, 100% natural spring water.
This week on the Maine Business Show, we're on location at Maine General Health in Augusta. We'll learn the origin story for Martens, a staple of Maine retail. If you want to learn to fly, charter a plane, or fuel one up, we've got just the place, Maine Instrument Flight. We'll learn more about Indigo Arts Alliance and what's on the horizon for Maine's capital city. All that and more on the Maine Business Show, coming right up. Welcome to the Maine Business Show. I'm your host, Quincy Hentzel. This week, we're delighted to be on location in Augusta, hosted by Maine General Health. We are joined by the CEO of Maine General, Nathan Howell. Nate, thanks for hosting us today and for joining us on the show.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's nice to have you.
So maybe we'll start with you just telling us a bit about Maine General.
Maine General is a comprehensive healthcare system right here in Kennebec Valley. And we're actually the third largest health system in Maine. We employ over 4,500 folks, which makes us the largest private employer locally as well. Maine General has a strong history as a not-for-profit, mission-based organization. Our mission is to enhance every day the health of our patients, of our families, and our communities that we live in. And we do that in many different ways. We have different facilities, which I'll talk about, but I think the number one thing that makes Maine General special is our culture. We're a community-based healthcare system. And what that means to me is that most of our care team and caregivers live in the communities we serve. And that makes the care that we give personal. And so it's our families, it's our neighbors, and you feel that when you come in. From a facilities perspective, we have 2 large facilities. You're sitting in one of them today, the Alon Center for Health, which is in Augusta, which is our primary inpatient facility. We have another large facility in Waterville, Thayer Center for Health, which is outpatient. We have an emergency room there as well. But we do more than just hospital services. We have a home health and hospice, long-term care services as well, rehab, urgent care, a full line of behavioral health. And so we're a comprehensive system.
Can you talk to us a little bit about some of the programs and initiatives you have going on currently at Maine General?
Yeah, we have a lot of different programs and initiatives. The biggest thing going up for us right now is a planned expansion of our cancer center. So 16 years ago, we opened the Harold Alfond Center for Cancer Care right here in Augusta. This was a regionalized center for care, and it allowed us to focus resources so that we had the best technology and the most up-to-date care for our region. But that was 16 years ago. A lot has changed in that period of time. So one of the big things we've seen is a demand for cancer care go up. So a stat that may show that, since 2018, we've seen a 75% increase in new cancer care consults at our cancer center. But outside of that, and on kind of a positive note, cancer care's changed. So we're diagnosing cancers earlier, and cancer patients are living longer. And so frankly, there's just more cancer patients. So this needed expansion, it's a $36 million expansion, will help to build back clinical spaces for our cancer center and help us meet the need and update technology so we're offering the best services going forward.
Nate, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing a little bit about the great work happening here at Maine General Health.
You're very welcome.
We'll hear more about Maine General a little later in the show when we talk to Deb Bowden, Administrative Director of the Harold Alfond Center for Cancer Care. The Central Maine area is headquarters to one of Maine's best-known retail businesses, Martens. With 13 locations across the state, you're never too far from a bargain. Here to tell us more about this multi-generational family business is Andrew Martin, the clothing buyer for Martens. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us on the Maine Business Show.
Thank you very much for having us.
So Martens is such an iconic Maine business. So why don't we start with telling us how it all began?
The business was actually founded by my grandfather, Mickey Martin, and we use 1964 as the date it was founded. but it's really a story of the consummate entrepreneur, and as many people in Central Maine know, a kind of larger-than-life character that just had the true entrepreneurial spirit and gene that he was always trying something new and different in different ventures. He was a local rural postman, and he would be done his routes that he was doing by around noon, and with a large family and a lot of mouths to feed, he was looking for opportunities to do after his route. So he got an auctioneer's license. He was merchandising people's wares, and eventually someone came to him one day and said, no, I don't want you to just auction off what I have. I want you to buy what I have and just give me a fair price and take it and sell it yourself. From there, he did a lot of different ways of getting merchandise, and it just kind of spun in over time to what we know today as Martens.
Talk a little bit about what you see as the rewards as well as the challenges to running a family-owned business.
So, I mean, the rewards are people that you have a relationship with and obviously the background with, being able to work with them on a daily basis, have your trials and tribulations and your successes and also your failures. You're working with them, but you have a different relationship. At the end of the day, we all feel a sense of responsibility to those who are working in the business, who their livelihood, we consider them part of the family, is all predicated around the success of the business. So everyone needs to remain humble and keep that going forward and try to really contribute in any way possible. There's a lot of us involved in the business, especially between cousins, cousin-in-laws, different uncles, aunts, that it's just all we contribute in different ways, and it's the greater good at hand and trying to contribute how we best can.
How about rewards and challenges of running a business in the state of Maine?
Yeah, I mean, the reward is being born and raised in Maine, and our whole family's all from Maine. I mean, we love this state. It's such a beautiful place. We feel fortunate to be able to all be here. I mean, we can be 2 hours from the mountains, and we're also an hour from the coast, and there's a lot of beautiful opportunities for recreation. Also, I mean, for the length of time which we've been around, in Maine being such a state which a lot of people call home for generations, a lot of our customers are almost generational. Shopping Martens is a habit that is almost passed down, that people go with their parents, or it's an excursion they take on a regular basis. We look at it as almost a Maine thing, which we feel very honored to be a part of that tradition. As far as challenges, I mean, no business is without challenges. And unfortunately, our geographic location, while we have a lot of positives from a recreational standpoint, we handle freight from all over the country. And logistically, we're a long ways away. We're kind of the end of the pipeline, especially if we buy a full big box retailer and you're moving 30 trailers cross country. It's not necessarily the closest place a lot of times. And a lot of the major deals that we buy are bid related, and the individuals that we're bidding against, a lot of times their freight costs could be 30% less just based on us being so far away.
Andrew, it was so great to have you on the show. Thank you for coming and sharing a lot about Martens that I didn't know, and I hope you'll come back to see us again.
Thank you. It would be a pleasure.
Coming up next, just what is Maine Instrument Flight? We'll find out after this. Ever wanted to charter a plane or learn to fly one yourself? Maine Instrument Flight, located in Augusta, is a full-service aviation company. Owner Chad Morris says their skies are indeed friendly.
My name is Savage Bloomer, and I am a certified flight instructor and certified instrument instructor here at Maine Instrument Flight.
It was always a family-owned business since 1946. The same family owned it, and we were bought out by new owners a couple of years ago, but everything is growing. You know, the flight school, the charter side.
Every walk of life really comes in. I would say primarily college-age students and kind of younger adults that want to make aviation a career, but we also get people who have piloting as a bucket list item. It takes between 6 to 8 months. We can kind of break our training up into multiple sections. And the first section that we cover is obviously learning how to fly the plane, learning the controls, how it feels. And after that section, which is a span of about 12 lessons, then there's the first solo, which we begin by doing what we call a supervised solo, which we go up with the student and we do a few takeoffs and landings, and then we get out after making sure that they're safe, and then they do their own takeoffs and landings.
more and more people are wanting to charter. Mostly we do from New York, Massachusetts, up to Maine and back. A lot of people, their summer homes are in Maine, so we fly them back and forth. They like it because it's on demand. We can do it whenever, any time of day or night. And we can fly into smaller airports as well, so it's convenient. The new aircraft that we have, the Pilatus, we can fly down to Florida, we fly across the country, we can go a lot further distances. The Pilatus is an 8-seater. It's a single engine, but it's very fast, so it can get people to places a lot quicker than our Barons. We have Beechcraft Barons, which are twin engine, but they're smaller aircraft. So we can fly a lot more people, it's more comfortable, it's easier to get in and out of. We love the Pilatus.
The level of interest, especially over the last couple of years, has really skyrocketed. We have seen a huge growth in potential pilots, people that are wanting to learn how to fly, albeit this is a great time to get into aviation. It's a growing industry. I think that has really propelled people to want to get into a career in which, they can see the world.
Because the Maine Business Show recognizes the economic contributions of art and artists, each week we feature a Maine arts leader. This week, we're joined by the executive director of Portland-based Indigo Arts Alliance, Jordia Benjamin. Jordia, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
So Indigo Arts was founded by Daniel and Marcia Minter, and I know that when they started the alliance, they did it through a very multiracial lens. Can you talk a little bit about what that looks like with the Indigo Arts Alliance?
Of course, I'll be happy to talk about that. Indigo Arts Alliance, our core mission and our values is to build global connections. And by doing that, we're building relationships with Black and Brown artists from all across the African diaspora, really rooted in co-mentorship. And it's hoped that in that residency model in which we have, that artists are able to build long and lasting relationships.
In Maine, we have an incredibly talented group of Black and Brown artists. What is it that Indigo Arts Alliance can offer those artists that they might not be able to find elsewhere?
Oh yes, we offer lots. One thing in particular is through our residency model and building those long-lasting relationships. We intentionally pair artists, so we bring artists from all over the global African diaspora to come to Maine as a visiting artist, and then they're paired with a Black and Brown Maine-based artist. That is essential to what we're doing here at Indigo, because we truly believe that we want to retain and sustain the Black and Brown arts creatives that are here in our state. We don't want them to believe that they have to leave the state, go to other art cultural hubs like our New Yorks or the Washington, D.C., the LAs or Miami, that they can find a strong art support system, they can find community, they can find opportunities, and a center that highlights and amplifies their voices, their visions, and integrates that into building a multiracial democracy.
You mentioned residencies, and I know Indigo Arts Alliance offers residencies to artists. Can you talk a little bit about what that looks like?
Oh, yes. We have two residency models. The first one is our co-mentorship model, in which we bring a visiting artist from the African diaspora to be in residence with a paired Maine-based or New England-based artist. And then the second model is strictly for Maine-based artists or Maine-rooted artists. And that's in honor of the legacy of Dr. David C. Driscoll, who was our inaugural advisor and also, before his death, had a long history with Maine. And so through that fellowship in which we honor his name and legacy, we're able to offer a free semi-studio space to one Black and Brown artist up to 3 months. And then in a full calendar year through that fellowship, we're able to give that residency to 3 artists. So when you combine both of our residency models, in total, we offer a residency to 13 artists in a calendar year.
How does Indigo Arts Alliance help non-Black or Brown viewers appreciate the art?
I think that answer lies within our 2 principles. The first is that art is a key resource for building and sustaining healthy communities. And with that, it should be cultivated and supported. Our second principle is that artists, through their vision and inspiration, provides a key and an important role in developing and sustaining a multiracial democracy. It's that multiracial democracy and community that really ensures that all members of our world are able to survive, and in particularly in this instance, Maine. But I also want to mention that Indigo, we position ourselves as a global entity and a global connections in which, is a part of our mission.
Jordia, it was so nice to meet you and have you in today. I promised you I would come visit at the Indigo Arts Alliance, and I hope you come back to see us on the show.
Thank you so much, and I will hold you to that.
In Aroostook County, the name Cary is well known, as in Cary Library, Cary Street, Cary Township, and Cary Medical Center. As we'll learn from the Maine Historical Society and Maine Memory Network, it all comes back to Shephard Cary, one of the county's most successful businessmen of the 19th century. In 1832, Shephard Cary opened an eponymous store in what's now Holton called Shephard Cary and Company. Also, in 1882, Cary was elected to his first of 13 terms in the Maine legislature. He was only 27. Cary built his initial fortune by harvesting and selling the virgin pine timber of Aroostook County. He then built multiple mills in the Holton area, which became known as Cary's Mills. Cary eventually married Susanna Whitaker, sister of his business partner Collins Whitaker. When a border dispute known as the Aroostook War broke out in 1843, Cary was well positioned to supply the army with much-needed timber for barracks and fortifications. As Cary became increasingly wealthy, he built a homestead on Military Street, and he also purchased large tracts of land, including 2 full townships of land along the Allagash River. In about 1852, he built a foundry and machine shop at Cary's Mills. He introduced the first mowing machine on his nearby farm and built a large brick building on Court Street in Holton, which still stands today. There are few people with a greater commitment to our capital city than Keith Luke. Keith is the Director of Economic Development for Augusta, and he has his finger on the pulse of what's new, what's historic, and what should be preserved and revived. Keith, thank you for joining us on the show today.
It's great to be here, Quincy.
So I used to spend a lot of time in Augusta, and it seems that over the last few years, there have been a lot of changes taking place. So tell us a little bit about what your priority is as Economic Development Director.
Well, as Economic Development Director, my job is to pursue opportunities that promote growth and development and investment in the city while preserving and I guess you'd say protecting our quality of life, to also keep the mill rate down. My job is one of the few in the city whose specific task is to keep the mill rate as low as possible.
So in your role, are you focused more on the businesses who have come to you and have chosen to locate in Augusta, or are you out actively recruiting businesses to come to the area?
We're very fortunate, Quincy, that the retail vacancy rate in Augusta is very, very low. Right now in our downtown, our retail vacancy rate is at a generational low, which is fantastic. But also at our lifestyle centers, at the marketplace at Augusta and Augusta Crossing, the vacancy rate there almost zero. Our focus from an economic development standpoint has historically been on growing the manufacturers, the commercial entities that we have here. The city has done more with tax increment financing, for example, than any other city or town in the state of Maine, working with companies like J.S. McCarthy, Performance Food Groups, NRF Distributors to ensure their continued growth and success in Augusta and Central Maine.
So with state government being the biggest employer in the city, what would you like to see more of for businesses?
Well, I'll tell you, the type of businesses we need more of right now, Quincy, are commercial contractors, home builders. It's similar across the state, as you know, but what limits our growth here in Central Maine and Augusta are limited commercial and industrial space, but also homes, and homes across every price range, from attainably priced housing to upscale housing for employees, workers at places like right here at Maine General.
What would you say is the biggest selling point? What is it that Augusta has to offer families, businesses, employees?
I think one of the big advantages that Augusta has is that we are an hour or less from all the major population centers, from Portland, from Greater Portland, Lewiston, Auburn, Bangor, Waterville. When you have families, two-income families, where a spouse is working in a different location city, Augusta is both an affordable and accessible place to live.
Keith, it's been so great to have you on the show. I love seeing the changes that are happening in Augusta, so keep up the good work, and I hope you'll join us again.
I'll do that.
We'll be back after a word from Poland Spring.
Water connects us all. As a company that relies on nature, we take responsibility to help conserve it. Our team of experts sustainably source water from carefully selected springs, monitored and managed to help support Maine's future, continuing the legacy of one of Maine's oldest brands for this generation and those to come. Poland Spring, 100% natural spring water.
The Harold Alfond Center for Cancer Care is part of Maine General Medical Center, and it's expanding. Here to tell us more about that is Deb Bowden, Administrative Director of the Harold Alfond Center for Cancer Care. Deb, we are so pleased to have you join us today.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here.
So earlier, we talked to Nathan Howell, the President and CEO of Maine General, and he talked a little bit about the expansion that you were undertaking here. Can you talk a little bit about that project and why the expansion is necessary?
Yes. Well, I have been there for the 16 years that we've been opened and been part of the planning and the merging of Waterville and Augusta together all those years. And we planned at that time for growth. We knew we were going to grow. We knew things would change. But it has gone at a speed that I think none of us could have expected. And that's a positive thing, too, because the forecast of cancer care is just changing from chemotherapy, immunotherapy, so many different types of therapies and radiation. So we're offering more. People are living longer lives, which is good quality lives. For all those reasons, now we have to take care of more people. So the volume's up. Services. We have a variety of different services that we offer to support people during their care. So all of those things take more staff to do that and take more room. And our space is limited, and we are just simply out of space.
So what additional services might patients be able to take advantage of with the expansion?
Yes, so we offer a variety of services now, but they are really just distributed throughout our current space. One additional space that I'm very excited about is a floor that will be focused on our holistic care, and it will be called the Schumann Center for Hope and Healing. That will bring all of our services together, our social workers who provide counseling, our dietitian for nutrition, our chaplain, our financial counselors, our community resource navigators, who now are in the building but distributed all throughout it. And this will allow for one area for all of our support services, what I call the wellness, the place where they wrap their arms around our patients and can help them in their journey to move forward. When people come in the building, to the right will be all those support services, the wellness, to complement the services to the left, which are our chemotherapy, immunotherapy, radiation, those kind of things.
Deb, it was so great to have you on the show. Thank you for being here today and sharing a little bit more about this pretty incredible expansion you're undertaking.
Yeah, thank you. It's an honor.
That's it for this week's edition of the Maine Business Show. Our thanks once again to Maine General Health for hosting us and to all of our guests. We hope you learned something new about Maine business and that you'll join us again. I'm Quincy Hentzel. See you next time.